I'm Tara Madison from Star 92.9 and Planet 96.7. I do all the graphics for the station websites and also quite a bit of social media, which is now a huge part of the job, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. I started radio in college in 1991, and that's when it was reel-to-reel and cart machines and you're queuing up records. Now everything is so automated because everything is computer generated now, which is great, you know, it's good, but at the same time that's also taken away jobs for a lot of people in the industry. It's such a small group of people now at this point, you know, that do radio full-time, that we are a very tight community. Now there's social media, and that's a huge part, like I was saying earlier, a huge part of the job where it's not just talking on the air or, you know, reaching out to your audience that way. You also have an audience on Facebook, and that audience is different from those that are on Twitter and Instagram. So you really have to do something to mold your direction to all of them, which is hard to do. You know, it is hard to do. And also because there are less people in the industry now, we all wear a lot of different hats. We all have a lot of different jobs. Star 92.9, we are playing the 90s to now. What I think is so important about Vox as a company is that it's locally owned. I think that that's what makes Star as a whole successful. We are definitely geared towards our demographic and live the lifestyle of our demographic. You know, our main demographic for Star 92.9 is me. So I know how to relate to my listener, which is really important, and we all really are, you know.
Name's Eric Forand by birth. I go by Eric J on Planet, and been here for at least 6 months on the payroll as of March. It's a 6 o'clock hour in the afternoon drive on Planet 96.7. Hello, Eric J. in for Steve Beats. Coming up, we got music from Jesse J, Mark Ronson and Bruno Mars, Nick Jonas, and Lilywood and Robin Schultz. Plus, we're going to go to the beat in the street, get the latest going down in Hollywood, all after Ed Sheeran here's Thinking Out Loud. Part-time DJ, both for Star 92.9 and Planet 96.7. I was hired for Planet first. The thing, too, that fascinates me about radio is that it's a personal medium. People don't listen to the radio in groups. You know, you're listening to it like doing your dishes, if you have a radio in your house, or, well, you know, when you're commuting somewhere, you're from work to home, or you're running your errands, you're listening to the radio. So the DJ is, very much reaching out to the person wherever they're at in life, no matter what they're doing, what they're going through. You know, that the DJ's there, and they're a part of it, which is really neat. And, it's kind of hard to imagine at the same time because you're talking to this thing. There's no face. You don't know, who it is. You don't know who's listening, or if in fact anybody is listening at that time. But you're there. You're there, and you're a very intimate part of that person's life when they're listening.
Your free time, searching for
who's that?
Interns to help out with station events and have a chance
it's the beat in the street.
The way that I see it, radio isn't going to go away. It never will. It will change. Planet and Star both have, their apps where people can choose music and, submit requests.
Hey, what's up? I'm Kat. I love being on the air, meeting artists, and helping with events that support the community.
Hey, it's Eric J. I've been with Planet.
And I think, smartphone, compatibility will come into play. I think that would be, a key method for staying relevant. And people, you're going to want to have somebody behind the mic who gets people who understand, what's going on. Staying on top of the trends I think, will be key. I think that's something that the people here, say for myself, are pretty darn good at. I think of Slater, I think of Stevie Beats, Tara, J-Fo, everybody else, Mike and Mary, everybody here in the building does it,
Oops,
and that's why I feel everybody here in the house, we've got great people here to do that.
Hey, I'm Slater, Program Director and Operations Manager. I'll do that again. Hey, I'm Slater, Program Director, Operations Manager at Star 92.9 and Planet 96.7, and also 101.3 ESPN. And I wake up way too early in the morning, 5 to 9, on Planet, and tell things that are true and usually not true. Talking for a living, which seems like a ridiculous job, is actually something that I loved just because I got to connect with people that I didn't know what they looked like, didn't know anything about them. While people are on their way to a job they might not like, it gave me an opportunity to take their mind away from whatever they're doing. So if it's playing a song, if it's giving a piece of information, if it's saying a joke, it's anything to get them out of a mood that they might be in and put them in a better space. So in 2015, I would say the biggest struggles that radio has, the 20-somethings that are finding that radio isn't connecting the way it used to be. 10 years ago, social media wasn't as diverse as it is today. Radio changed from just being radio to being every social media, from Twitter to Snapchat. Now DJs, I Snapchat in studio. That literal relationship back and forth, you won't get that from a song of having somebody snap you back or Instagram and like your post. Within our radio group, we make sure that we use social media to help us keep the listeners and really gain more listeners instead of putting them off to Pandora, just on to what we have to offer, which is another social media outbranch.
Ryan Matlack, Program Director for 101.3 ESPN and 960 The Zone, Burlington-Plattsburgh market. When you work in one of these type of markets, a smaller market, you have a few different responsibilities. And mine is both the program directing side, which entails a lot of scheduling, and then the producing side, which is making up promos, commercials, getting liners, stuff like that. Twitter's a huge social media engine that helps us achieve that goal of really getting people news as quickly as possible. We have the luxury of being the only sports format station, sports talk format station in the area. So that's a blessing and a curse, because it also means that the minute we slip, another station might try to start a sports station. It's the constant pressure to be the number one go-to for sports in this market is always there, because we are competing against radio, not just radio stations, but TV stations, paper. It's very important that during commercial breaks we can be local. We play these things called notebooks, which update people throughout the day on certain teams in the region out of Boston, New York, Montreal, and that's our angle, because we know that people can get their national sports news from anywhere. We want it to be here, and we want to put a local twist on it to kind of bring listeners in. Social media is huge for sports, because when you talk about breaking headlines, breaking stories, Twitter is really the best way to do it. We actually use Facebook a lot for a sports talk station. Twitter is really number one, but we use both as much as we can to incorporate listeners' feedback and also get news to them. But with Sports Talk Radio, there's really no better way to call in, get your opinion on air, and then hang up and hear yourself back on the air and hear what the hosts have to think about your opinion. And that's how we can get people involved and get people, when you can get a listener kind of recognized on air, that's going to make them more apt to listen in the future, just because we've given them their opinion, their thought, some attention. And people like that. They want their voice to be heard, and that's kind of the idea of Sports Talk Radio.